Kill this shit again, bro.
So softly lighting up the night.
Floating, wavy like the ocean. My physical emotions show my spirit as an omen. I'm in motion like the seven seas. Connect with men and them who think like Elohim. My flow warm like a sunbeam. My third eye shine red like the waters in your bloodstream. Young king, my tongue shine without a tongue ring. My talking bling bling like it's nothing. Glowing like slick brick changer is apex. You basic if you want love without the hatred. It's dangerous, having faith amongst the faithless. Just stay in tune with the ancient and amens. Prayers to the dead and those that deserve killing. Your life is a gift, your presence is Thanksgiving. And to the wise, every day is a holiday. And to my enemies, every day's a barred one. Black Storm.
Face pissed off, miss shit off course. Which way shit's going? Spent too much time in hibernation. Sleep, what went wrong? Things changed from lift off up until the destination was reached. Mind and body weak, gone from the stress on the brain. Lost in the void of space. What does it really takes to stay sane and maintain stability? Is this really me floating in the maze haze of what will I? Could I? Who should I be? Am I destined to weep and cry my life away for all the wrong mistakes I made and take the blame? Damn, this shit is so insane. Just wanna flow free like a river into the ocean. Not headed what for the fucking drain. Life caught up in disarray. System malfunctioning. Made days instead of paydays. Red light blinking. Thinking, where's the green? Hoping this is a dream. It only seems to be a nightmare. Scared, pure fear of the unknown. Where's here? Do you know what I mean? Journeys through the galaxies at light speed. Please, just catch me.
Heart always crying, but my heart won't stay silent. Sky is the limit, but after that I'm not finished. Heart always crying, but my heart won't stay silent. Sky is the limit, but after that I'm not finished.
Yeah, I'm ready for liftoff, like a hooper when it's tip off. Yeah, I'm ready to score, ready for war. Polishing my floor so I can shine like a diamond in the store. I sparkle like the son of Allah, creating rain, hail, and earthquakes, the God in the flesh. And they say God makes no mistakes. From natural disaster to calm and laughter, I'm balancing the scales like a yin-yang master. Emotional intelligence is energy intelligence. The wise use the mind to align with the elements. Health is a benefit. Treat the body like a temple. They creating viruses to end you. State to state, new mandates are taking place. World's using faith as the government vaccinates. Hard to keep your head on straight in this world of the snakes. Reptilians pose as heads of state and Congress. You gotta shine on regardless. Glow amongst the godless, rise in Christ conscious. Free yourself from mental bondage and let there be carnage to the dragon, the beast, and harlot. In Revelation, I got the heart of a gladiator. Lightsaber like Luke and Darth Vader. Training like a Jedi Knight to fight ops to get the crowd jumping like a New Year's ball drop. Let's go!
Heart always crying, but my heart won't stay silent. Sky.
Peace, power, prosperity. Rob Blackstorm in the building. Welcome to another lovely Sunday event. I have special guests. Don't want to waste your time. With no further introduction, I have the Moon Mama, Monique Ruffin in the building. Once again, gracing us with her lovely presence, her intellectual acuity, and also something beautiful to look at, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, Monique Ruffin. Welcome.
Yay. Always welcome to be here with you.
Yes, thank you. Likewise, it's always a pleasure. I always learn something. Mo, we were talking a little bit backstage about this week and how, we've both been doing like our internal journey and things like that. Being that it is technically the new year, it is the spiritual new year, I call it, or the natural new year, being that we're in Aries season, the season of the Ram. I want to talk about something we didn't talk about, kind of pop it up. This whole thing with Trump, right, getting indicted, right, at the beginning of the new year. Is there anything that the stars or the zodiac is telling you or showing you, because a lot of people, they like, I find it that people that believe in Trump, they kind of
Mhm.
worship him like a cult figure. It's
Mm,
almost like he's a messiah type of
mm,
figure. People really think like if Trump gets back in, the world's going to change and things are going to get better and he's for black people. And it's almost like he's the new Christ. And, to see all these demonstrators and things like that come out based on the indictment. Is there anything the stars are showing you about what's happening, what's going on?
Gosh, that is so profound to me. So, first of all, America is in its Pluto return. And I believe Pluto is at the 27th degree. America's Pluto return is at 27 degrees. And so Pluto has hit that degree already like 3 times, and it's going to retrograde and go back to that degree starting. It goes into retrograde, I believe, on the 21st of April.
Hmm.
So, what the America's Pluto retrograde is, it's the what do I want to say? It's the alignment of the energy that started this country. And and what we have to understand in as creators in the earth realm, and we're all creators in the earth realm, is that the initiating energy with which we start anything is how it's going to unravel and how it's going to play out. And you're always going to have to answer to that. So that is, like I can think about relationships that I have been in where I started the relationship believing that this person was going to bring me something that I didn't have inside of myself. And that entire relationship was spent with me being in scarcity because how you start something is how you finish it. It's just
Hmm.
how it is, right? So America started as a thief, as a criminal, as
Mm,
a liar, as
mm,
that is how America. So America can never be different until it realigns its origin story. And so Trump is the poster child for America. Trump is the
mm.
poster child for white men and their unapologetic ability to do whatever they want to do all over the world in the name of money, in the name of racism, in the name of colonialism. And Trump has followed all the rules of the American rule book of how to win. He has played by the rules.
Make America great again, right?
He
That's the
has
whole.
played by the
When
rules,
was America really great? They tried basically,
right?
we
And
were we
what
were
are the rules?
subservient,
Yes,
things
the
like that.
rules are to trample over to make money the most primary thing. Money is God. Your whiteness is the key to wield your power. Like there, like Trump has just done what America has said can be done, and he has gotten away with it because these are the rules. Like, I don't know if you watched that Dave Chappelle show when he was on Saturday Night Live, and Dave Chappelle said he made the joke. It was so funny. He said, I watched Trump come out of the room and say, yes, we are in here doing all of these things because it's legal to do it. And when you have that much money and power, you can pay your way into these experiences. And then he went back in the house and kept doing whatever he was doing. And he admitted it because it wasn't illegal. It's not illegal. So
Right,
it's
right.
not illegal. It's
Trump playing the game. Trump,
it's
Trump
just
is,
the
Trump
game.
is yeah.
So if we're not willing to understand where we are and what America is about, this is a prime, like the curtain has been pulled back. And Trump is he just never apologized for it. He just never lied about it like they all have, like the Bushes have and the Reagans have and the Kennedys have. He just never pretended that he was doing anything any different than what the law said he could do. And he's a Gemini. So he didn't present one way and act another way. He just showed his hand because he didn't feel like he needed to hide it. It was legal. So how do I feel about it? I feel like America's poster child. I feel like America is indicting itself by indicting Trump.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
feel like America is pulling its own coattail by saying we are indicting Trump for doing what we've always all have done. And so I just think it's fascinating. I'm in awe. I'm like, oh wow, because I know the astrology and I understand cosmology, and that nothing is ever lost. Nothing ever goes away. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not still there. And this indictment is America putting itself on trial. And we're about to watch this system come undone. Because, of course, this man is going to fight because he's only been doing what was legal to be done if you were a rich white man. So this is about to get so good.
Yeah, times are changing. Times are changing. The world is shifting, not only on its access, but socially. I was also, at alignment with the whole Trump thing. And like you said, Trump representing the old world or old America and us coming into a new world. The other countries, the BRICS countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa coming together with some sort of gold-backed currency. And they've announced that like they're getting ready to leave the US, which is the number one reserve currency here in America, basically the currency where you could put your money all over across the world, reserve currency where you could put your money that is safe, considered safe. So the
Yes.
dollar was a safe bet, but no
Yes.
longer is that the case. So America being a capitalistic country, as you illustrated, right, and the fall of the ram or the fall of the lamb is also to me, um, it's a strong connection with also Christianity,
Mhm.
right? I don't know if you've seen the Pope getting sick and then renouncing the doctrine of discovery. Doctrine of discovery basically was where they could go wherever they want, basically European countries. And if they discover it, even if there's people there, they own it. Like what type of, we could take over the land legally, kill people, slaughter people legally, which is what they've been doing all these years.
For
Also,
hundreds of years, for 1,500 years, they have been doing this. For 1,500 years, they have been. Now, here's the thing. I want to say this, right? Like,
mhm,
I am not at odds with any of it. This is the earth game.
mhm,
This is the fucking earth game. But everything here is cause and effect. So whatever you put out eventually has to come back to your ass. So now it's just comeuppance. It really is. Um and what was first will be last and what was last will be first. It's just all so interesting to me. I'm like, wow, what is happening? And I'm so grateful to be in a Black person's body because we hold the original codes.
mhm,
So I'm really clear about what it means to be a Black person, what it means to have the DNA of the cosmology in my system to be able to tap in. It's not the easiest work to do, to be able to really begin to do the ancestral work, to call myself forward and let go of an old mindset that we have all been indoctrinated in, and then to begin to view myself as my own God at, like putting myself in power to understand that I'm creating my own reality. Because um we've been attached to narratives and energetic frequencies that have been draining our energy and usurping our power. And now that frequency is dying out. So we got to get on board to generate our own energy so that we can be God in our own lives, because what we've been a part of for 400 years is collapsing right beneath our feet.
Yeah, yeah. I thought it interesting also, another sign of the times is Uganda. They try to introduce the LGBTQIA whatever agenda over there, and Uganda's like, nah, we're not having it. And the president was like, look, and this was interesting. I thought this was a big sign of the whole Pluto and Aquarius cycle that we're in, the shift, because he was like, we don't want your aid, we don't need your aid, and to all the other countries, we have enough resources here. And I was like, whoa, like you would have never heard that, not even 10, 15, 20 years ago.
That's right. You
Yeah.
would have heard it 5 years ago.
Right. Fact. So it's like the people now it's come to the point where it's really, I feel like this 2023 year mode, Pluto in Aquarius, it's really putting uh a stamp, so to speak, or accentuating the fact that you have to do for self. You have to learn to rely on yourself. Pluto in Aquarius, is there any shift that you see that's happening as far as how that will affect us overall, or things we should be doing as far as Pluto in Aquarius? Or talk to us about Pluto in Aquarius and what that means, what that should mean to us individually and socially.
Right. It's such a big deal. Well, Pluto is the transforming energy of our system. And Pluto is the power. It really is power. And Aquarius is the individual and how you bring your unique individuality into the collective experience. It's really knowing that everybody has a part to serve. And so immediately with Pluto and Aquarius, it's like, what is my part to serve? What is it that I am responsible for here? And it's important that we all begin to honor our individuality, your gifts, how you function, how you're meant to function. And anybody who follows me, you guys know I'm constantly talking about how important it is for people to understand how they are built energetically. What is your psyche, right? So here's the thing, right? So we were born in a system that was all based in white supremacy, that put white men at the top of, so to say, the food chain. And everything in our country was based on them, right? Like, and they don't even know themselves enough. So
Mm.
everything in our country has been based upon grabbing power and um and not on cooperation, but on competition and money and owning shit and claiming shit. All that's white male shit. But it's been
Scarcity and lack.
and lack and scarcity, right? So we have all been indoctrinated into that way of being because, like I like to say, we have been in a white man's mind. Like
Hmm.
America is a white man's mind. The whole system was born out of a white man's mentality, a white man's game. So now we have to begin to discover who we are, right? And it means healing the trauma of the system of division and separation that would have you think that you can't grow your own food and you can't heal your own body and you can't raise your children and educate them and you can't, you're not valuable. Like all of that is white man shit. None of
Hmm.
that's real.
Right, right.
Right. So you have to remove all of those beliefs and get to like what's really real. So your natal chart is the key to understanding who you really are, because that is that is how your soul, the God in you, made you and birthed you in this reality, and with those configuration of the planets and where they were at the time of your birth. And there is no other person who's ever lived that has that configuration of planets. Even if they were born at the same time, they weren't born out of the same vagina.
Mm, mm,
so so the DNA configuration The energies that make you who you are divine. They are coded for something, and they are coded for this time on the planet. Like, you've got to really get how significant you are at this time on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And the work is to uncover your gifts, your potential, your power, your energy, your frequency, your codes, so that you can flourish and be who you're meant to be. Because the whole world is changing. It's not just the countries that are changing,
No.
people are changing too. So with Pluto and Aquarius, Aquarius is the mind of God. And the mind of God is where you are. It's where you are. You are a geographical location in the mind of God. The
Mm.
and this is an energy
Wait, no, say that again. Say that again. That was wait, say that. Say that one more time. You're a geographical location where?
in the mind of God. You
Mm.
are a geographical location in the mind of God.
That's fire. Yeah.
It's the truth. And so you've got to find yourself. You've got to locate yourself and how you are meant to function, right? So I study my natal chart. I'm like, okay, I have the sun conjunct Pluto. So I'm here to be a transformer. I'm here to walk into the darkest experiences and help myself and others transform them into light. That's how I'm meant to function. My sun is conjunct Jupiter. I'm here to help people expand through magic and understanding the how the mind really works and how we're creating reality. I'm made to do that, right? So because I understand how I'm made, then that's what I do. A dog is meant to bark. A cat is meant to, like, these things are made to function in a certain way. If the creator would make every species to function a certain way, why would you be any different?
Right.
You just don't know how you're meant to function because you're living in a country that's all based in white supremacy, where you're told that you're meant to go to work and be a banker and be a teacher and be no, all that's bullshit, is made up stuff,
Yeah,
right?
right. That's
All
not who you really are.
that's not who you really are. And so you have to get curious, and the work is deep because, I've been doing this work for 20 some years. And just 2 years ago, I heard Spirit say, okay, now you can get to know who you are. And I was like, what the fuck do you mean? Now I can get to know who I am. Like, yeah, you've just been removing all of the blocks. You just
Mhm.
spent all these years removing the narratives and the stories about who your father was and who your mother was and what they believed in Jesus. So you've just spent time attacking the false narrative so that you can remove them. Now that that's removed, now we can begin with the foundational work of who you really are. And I was like, I'm 54 years old. How could this be? How could it be that I'm just getting to the beginning of me knowing myself?
Mm, that's deep. That's deep.
Right. And
Yeah.
so I would say that the young people who are born now, they don't have a lot to remove, right? They
Right.
are already tapped in. So if you're below like 33,
You got it
you
good.
know,
Yeah.
maybe you don't have as much undoing. You might not. But if you are 33 and up, you could spend 2 years, 3 years cleaning up your whole system. And I don't believe that it will take people as long as it's taken me, because I had to create it. I had to discover it. I had to learn. But now that I've done that, there are people like me who've also done this work, and we can teach people how to do it faster. I know where to point people to, like, oh,
Right.
look, go to this, go, but I had to figure it out. I was like, huh? But that's Pluto and Aquarius, really getting clear about who you are and having the courage to rebel against the old ways of being. I work with clients constantly who are afraid to quit their jobs, who are afraid to leave relationships that really don't serve them, who are afraid to really look at their own trauma and pain because they're so sensitive. But there are tools that really make this work doable and accessible if you're willing, if you have the courage. You got to have courage though. Like you can't do it without having courage.
Yeah,
'Cause it
you
is
have to
hard
step
work.
out of your comfort zone and take
That's
risks.
right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I think like you said, with the Pluto and the Aquarius, Aquarius being the water bearer, right?
Yeah.
So most we're made up of 70+% water. So really that is really our soul's essence that we're transforming and going through the changes to become the best versions of ourselves. And like you were saying, you have to take risks. You have to be willing to step out. You have to be willing to put yourself in places and scenarios that you normally wouldn't, if these places and scenarios and even people are going to get you to where you want to go or match the vision of where you want to be. I think
Yes.
a lot of times we are here in America, like we were talking about earlier before the show, we're trained because of Christianity, because of the Abrahamic religions, to look outside of ourselves for guidance or to look outside
Yeah.
of ourselves for cues of transformation. And, you know, I'm a man of a certain age, you're a woman of a certain age, and we didn't have the internet. We didn't have the access to listen to millionaires and billionaires for free. We didn't
Mhm.
have the access to listen to therapists and, you know, spiritual teachers and
Mhm.
ministers and leaders absolutely free. Everything
Mhm.
that you want to learn is really out here, but you have to do the due diligence to problem solve and to think critically, to bare
Right.
your own soul and be willing to say, no, this is the way I want to move. This
Yeah.
is the way I want to go. I'm going to go against the crowd,
Yeah.
especially in this information economy where it's all about followers. It's
Yeah.
all about people following other people.
Mhm.
And in order to do transformation, like you said, you have to get your natal chart because you have to understand the blueprint of who you really are. You
That's
have
right.
to understand your dominant spirit, which is the
Yeah.
zodiac or the zodiac, right?
Yeah.
The animal or the animating spirit that's in you, right? Like you're a
Yeah.
Virgo, so you have a different animating spirit of nurturing. I'm a Scorpio, I have a different animating spirit where I like to research mysteries, right? Go into
Yeah.
the unknown. That's my dominant spirit, but it doesn't mean like you don't encompass the whole Scorpio, the whole
That's right.
spiritual, the whole Scorpio, the whole zodiac, the whole
The
spectrum
whole, yeah, that's right.
of astrology, the whole space, the whole universe, because all of it is ours. The world is ours. I was talking to somebody the other day and we were talking about the whole, you know, I'm not from Africa, I'm from here. Well,
Yeah.
I'm from America, right? While that is
Mhm.
cool to say, why give yourself as an original being, right? As a melanated original man or woman, give yourself a locality. Why
Mhm.
give yourself America? Why
Mhm.
give yourself
Mhm.
Africa? Why give
Yeah.
yourself the Caribbean when you have the whole universe, the whole world where
Yes.
you could find? It's like the Egyptian story of or Set or Isis and
Mhm.
Osiris and
Mhm.
or Seer being or
Mhm.
Osiris being
Well,
cut up into
Kemetic,
22
that's
pieces.
Kemetic, that's Kemetic because
Yeah,
Egyptian would be Isis and right. So to be all said, it's Kemetic, right?
it's
Is what
comedic. Yeah,
I'm.
the
Mhm.
comedic. Right. So
Mhm.
the whole story of being cut in 14 pieces or say being cut in 14
Yeah.
pieces is us putting all these pieces of original indigenous spirituality and taught because America can't teach you how to heal your soul. They
No.
can't teach you how to heal your spirit. The most you're going to get out of America is how to make some money and how to maintain yourself while making money. And
Yes.
it's all about materialism. And I
Yes.
think that's another thing that's affecting our relationships. Let's get into before I even get into that, get
Mhm.
into let's get into the pink moon, the full moon in Libra, right? Which is
Yes.
dealing with relationships. And there's a lot of, you know, relationship battles, quote unquote gender war, which I think is only on the internet. I don't think the gender war is real. I think it's really an internet gender war. When I
Yeah.
go outside, I see people holding hands and kissing and hugging and loving each other. I only see these debates online, right? I don't
Yeah.
know. I
Yeah.
think it's fabricated, but
Yeah.
there is still a mindset that's being pumped that
Yeah.
we are separate from each other, or that men
Mhm.
are this and women are that. You know, the
Yes.
modern woman, the toxic masculinity, right? These
Mhm.
dominant tropes that are out here. I think also being that we are in this change, this transformation or transformational period, going from Pluto into Aquarius, and now with the new moon in Libra, it's going to change those dynamics as well, because we've been looking at relationships from a material perspective, right?
Yes.
She's glamorous, she's beautiful. Okay, I gotta have her on my arm, right? That's what's gonna make you look good. Looking at the outside, right?
Right.
Oh, he has money, he has financial resources. Looking at again the external processes, but we're seeing that that's not working. Just having those as foundations of our relationship aren't working. That people
Yes.
are now looking for, what else do you have? What are your inner qualities?
Yes. Yes. And that is so the thing that about the Libra full moon, any full moon, is that wherever the full moon is, the sun is in the opposite sign. So the opposite sign is being illuminated with light. And the
Mm,
opposite sign is Aries. And we
mm,
had a new moon in Aries. We didn't have an opportunity to do that
right,
show,
right.
but we had a new moon in Aries. And the new moon is always where you are getting new codes. Like the thing about this universe to know is that we live in this world and it looks fixed and mundane, but it's not. There is an energetic code that is always being uploaded and rebooted. This is a hologram. This
Hmm.
this is your physical body is only 10% of who you are. So with the sun in Aries, we have a month of downloading the new codes for our sense of self. The
Mm.
I am presence, right? And so it's important that you are responsible for this system that you are. And if your energy is looking to anybody else for what they can give you, then you are abandoning yourself for what you are cultivating and who you are. Most of us are so externalized, materialistic, right? Because we can perceive with our eyes this what we think is value, but that is not the value. The value, what we see with our eyes, is what came from within somebody else's imagination.
Mm.
The
Yeah.
computer, somebody built it. The house you live in, somebody built it. The clothes you're wearing. So if you're trying to place value on these external things, that's not the value. The value is the creator that generates the new reality. And you are the value. You are that. So this Libra full moon energy is asking one thing. Do you know who the fuck you are before you show up to
Right.
somebody else? And if you don't know who you are, sit your ass at home and get clear about what you bring and what your gifts are and what you have to offer and what your contribution is and what your unique expression is, so that when you show up to somebody else, you have something that is of value to share.
Man, that is I gotta wait, hold up. I gotta let off the AK a little bit for that one. You on fire, boy. You on fire. You on fire. You on fire. You on fire. Yeah, like the uniqueness of who we are, and what we bring to the table is, like you said, the most important part of this whole journey, this
Yeah,
life's journey, or this Heru's journey. Your will, right? Being
yes,
this is Sunday, the Heru, day of Heru, the day of Horus. What are you bringing to the table, right? Your horoscope, or your horoscope is, what are you willing? What spirits are you bringing to the table? What type of energy are you leaving on the world?
that's right.
Because, as you said, the material world is not real. It's not. This is all a hologram. It's holographic. It's made up, and it's made as a construct. It's a matrix made for us to live in and exist. But this is a vehicle.
That's
Like,
right.
this is no different than a car.
That's
But
right.
you have the steering wheel.
That's right.
You control where you're moving this car and what you're moving this car to. But you have to put the right oil in the engine, right? You have
Yeah.
to put the right gas in the engine. You have to make sure that you're running not only this vehicle properly, but you're directing it properly. And only you can do that. You
And
could have all the books in the world. You
that's
can have
right.
a book about the best, biggest peach in the world. But until you eat that peach, You don't know what a peach is. You could read the most profound poetry about peaches and see the best peach pictures in the world, right? With water dripping off of them and everything. But until you actually eat the peach, that's not the reality. So the reality is something that we have to experience. And like you said, it's by taking risks, it's by doing the work.
That's right.
Go ahead, Mo.
And I say this though, the thing that is such an interesting thing in these online wars between the masculine and feminine, which I actually agree with you, and this idea of, women, it's important that women understand our value and that we understand our value based upon us defining it for ourselves. Because if the patriarchal world defines our value, you see what it will say is that your sex is your value, your body, how you look. And if it's one thing that I have lived long enough to know is I have watched really beautiful women age and turn into women who are not as physically beautiful, or the world would say that you're not as physically beautiful, but you're beautiful in a different way, right? But the thing is, if women don't cultivate their magic, then you really don't have anything to offer to a man. Because if, like, the external things are not valuable, they really are not. Like, we might be watching a whole collapse of our economy, right? So what is the value of money if the money doesn't have any value? So as women, if we are not cultivating our intuition, our psychic abilities, our ability to magnetize the external world and bring what it is that we desire, our ability to create in our imagination, and then to literally learn how to make things out of nothing. Like, it is so important for women to understand that our value has to be something that is intrinsic to our connection to the creator. That is what we do. We bring things out of the unseen and into the invisible. And if we are not functioning that way, then we are not functioning in a way that actually has value. And this is not about having babies. This is about understanding your ability to create and generate realities. And that is what when they created America, they went and they got Black women because we are the greatest vortex of creative power. They know it. That's why, as the world goes and does whatever it's going to do, I don't care because I'm a Black woman. The whole world has been generated through American ideals. Why? Because Black women are the most powerful force in this system. And so, if we don't understand that, then we are giving our power away. That's why it's just so important for us to understand our connection to the invisible and understand that we are magnets for reality and what we focus on, and what that the whole everybody else knows it.
Everybody else knows it. That's what the whole movie Get Out was about. The fact that everybody else knows but us, right?
Yes,
Everybody else knows the value of our bodies, the value of our minds, the value of our souls, the value that the creativity that we bring to the table. Like, just as far as even like you were talking about the computer or the Kem Pata, right?
yeah,
What we brought to the table, as far as, like, I was reading something about just the black men and women in chemistry, and how much, how many life-saving things that they've brought to the table, from the blood transfusion to cancer diagnosis to sickle cell diagnosis. Like, these are all melanated people that brought all these different ideas and these different creations to the world. I was even thinking about Madam C.J. Walker, like how ill it was, like the beginning of the 19th century. She had a hotel, like in the middle of Jim Crow, right?
wow.
In the middle of extreme racism. She was not only a multimillionaire, but able to build her own hotel. You don't even see melanated people with hotels nowadays, right? If you do, it's very rare. But it shows how we have to get back to that mindset, and we have to no longer look at an external enemy, but look at ourselves as the enemy, and figure out what it is within us that we need to purge and we need to clean and we need to transform, which is what the whole Pluto energy is about. And also with the Libra energy, who we need to connect with.
That's
right?
right.
The people that we need to network. No
And
man or woman is an island. Go
the
ahead.
thing about the Libra energy is the Libra energy, the motto, the mantra for Libra is I reflect. I reflect. The thing, I think that Libra and Pisces are the most difficult energies to embody because we don't understand that we live in a reflective universe, meaning everybody that shows up in your life is a reflection of your energy. That's the only thing that can ever happen. People can only show up who have an energetic affinity to you. So if you have people in your life who are liars, who don't tell the truth, who aren't focused or it's because they are mirroring some aspect of you back to yourself. And that is the trick of this reality. Like, so I hear people, he's a cheater, because you are cheating on yourself. He's
Mm,
cheating on you because you are cheating on yourself. You are with him for a reason that is not in alignment with your own internal integrity. So you are cheating on yourself so he can only deceive you
that's
because
it.
you are being deceptive to yourself. Like, that's the most important thing that people need to understand is this reality is energetic based, and you are only experiencing yourself ever, especially as women. Now, men, I believe that's the same is true for men, but men have more physical power in the earth realm, while women have subconscious power, and we project our subconscious out. So the more we take responsibility for what's showing up in our lives, even if it's painful, even if it's hard, even it's a gift. It's a gift to show you yourself and where you need to do your healing work. Don't resist it. Accept it. Step into it. Love yourself enough to take responsibility and know that the universe is only giving you reflections of yourself. And if you can take responsibility for the reflection that's showing up, then another reflection will show up after you have owned the one that you are resisting.
Yeah, relationships are the best way to see where you are, not only spiritually, but in life in general. Sometimes you might be in a relationship and it might be a person that you hate. But like you said, it's a reflection. They're showing you the best parts of yourself
That's
and they're
right.
showing you the worst parts of yourself.
Yes.
I noticed when I was in dealing with narcissistic women and attracting narcissistic women, it was
Mm.
because I didn't know the value of myself,
Yes.
right? Not only having a narcissistic parent or,
Hmm.
that was highly narcissistic, which I did. Of course, you don't know that as a kid, right?
Right.
But still being attracted to that mother archetype, it is crucial that you know what value you have and you understand that you are dope as you are. You're great as you are, and you're only getting better and better as the days go by. Or else you wouldn't be watching someone like me or Mo doing this type of thing. This is the work that you want to do to become the better version of yourself. But you have to make changes. And if you are in or have bad relationships, it's not on looking at everybody like they were bad. You allowed them to come into your life for a reason. There was something that attracted them into your life for a reason. So you have to look at what that why is,
That's
right?
right.
And figure out what it is that you brought to the table and also own your mistakes in the relationship.
That's right.
Like a lot of people don't own the decisions that they made, the bad decisions, and then you just continue. There's people, and we all seen that continue to repeat the same relationship cycles over and over and over. They're dating the same man, or they'll date the same archetype of women, and then
Yeah,
they'll have the same results and wonder why.
that's
Well,
right.
it's not the person, it's not the other person, it's you.
It's you. And that's the good news because you have control over yourself and you can do the work to heal yourself. I have spent, one of the things that I do is, um, I just remind myself as often as possible that I am creating my reality, and whatever happens, I ask myself, why did I create this? Because I know it came out of my subconscious, because
Hmm.
that is the way that it is. And even if I don't like it, sometimes I'll just say out loud, I hate this. I fucking hate this, but I know I created it. So why did I create it? And it might take me sometimes days to really be able to relax into it, to see it clearly. But when I do, it transmutes and it moves into something else as long as I'm not denying it. And you started by asking me about the indictment of Trump. And one of the challenges since Trump had started running, I was a blogger for years at Huffington Post and all of these big places. And I was always writing saying that Trump is a picture of who we are. Trump is the expression of the American psyche. Trump is the beloved child of America. And unless we can all see that he is an expression of us in some way, if we won't look at it, we can never heal it. If we're not willing to understand that there have been systems in place for hundreds of years that would cultivate a Trump to become where, and that we are all a part of that in some way, right? So, so I asked myself, well, where is it that I grew up in Watts and the crack epidemic in this country, like the president's doing criminal things to citizens, and how do I participate in that? I go and I vote for them and I act like they're going to do good stuff, right? Like I vote for Bill Clinton or I vote and I pretend like these are good people and they're going to take this energy, because when you vote, that actually is your energy. It's not just some random thing. It's a real energetic imprint. And then I vote for them and then they go do crime all around the world. And then that is what I'm participating in. But we think it's not. No, it is. When you give your energy to somebody and you say, go do these things, whether they do it or not, you've abdicated your power. So we all get to look at, where are we giving our power away? Where are we denying the essence of who we really are? Where are we hoping that somebody is going to come and make it right or save us? Where are we?
Presidents can't save you, people. They're not there to save you. They're there for their own individual agenda. Go ahead, Mo. I'm sorry.
That's it. That's really it. And so, the more we can take responsibility, the more we can, and when we've made, mistakes or anything, the more we can take responsibility, the more we can say, okay, I participated in this way. I did, or I thought this, I didn't know. Just take responsibility. I forgive myself. And you literally free yourself of those energetics and you open up the possibilities, because the world is going to change, and the world is going to change based upon the age of Aquarius. And that means the age of you being willing to be true to your own codes.
There's no one who could save you but you. And the whole thing with especially the full moon in Libra, it's really about, like you said, the reflection of everything that you see, and you being accountable for the reflection of everything that you see and everything that's in your circumference. You have to balance the scales, and it has to kind of, as electromagnetic beings, we want to have things around us, and we want to have people around us that reflect our highest good or our highest purpose. We want to have people around us that encourage us, that tell us, yes, we can do it. Even if the dream seems irrational, even if the vision seems like it's something no one could think of. And sometimes you have to guard those visions for yourself, because people will knock you off your path or say, because it hasn't been done, that it can't be done.
Right.
But the people that encourage you, those are the people that you want to keep around. Like, this is not the era of taking people's kindness for weakness, because you're not going to be able to, as America falls and as it becomes more and more, quote unquote, hectic or more and more crazy, because as America falls, everybody's not doing this work. So people are running around like chickens with their heads cut off, right? People are ODing at a high rate. People are, drug abusing, drinking, all that, because everything is happening so fast now. And if you don't think for yourself, if you don't have your own mind, if you're not a critical thinker and able to look at things and say, does this work for me?
Right.
Does this make sense for me? Is
Mhm.
this something I need to be emotionally engaged in? Is this
Yeah.
news story really affect me? Or is
Mhm.
someone telling me it should affect me? Is someone telling me that this should bother me? All
Mhm.
you should look at is news stories and different things that happen as signs and symbols to figure out the future and to figure out how to plan your personal future for yourself and your family. But
Mhm.
these are not things to get emotionally involved in, because your emotions should be reserved to you keeping your vibration high when everything around us is trying to lower our vibration.
Yes. Ashe.
Yeah, because we are in this right now. On the when that full moon is happening, there's also going to be an alignment mode, Venus, Mercury, and Mars. I thought that was interesting because Mars is the ruler of Aries, the
Yeah.
warrior planet, the planet of aggression and assertion. Mercury, dealing with communication, the Heka. In the beginning was the word was with God, and the word was a God. And we
Mhm.
talk about magic and spells and speaking things into existence. And then we have the Venus energy, right? Venus, Mercury, and Mars in alignment with
Mhm.
this full moon in Libra, with the passion energy, the energy of love and passion.
Mhm.
Um, I feel like these dominant themes being on the full moon of Libra, it's important because passion, communicative passion, right?
Mhm.
Communicative passions with a warrior energy would allow us to break through a lot of our limitations easier and allow us to also speak things into existence easier, right? Mirror
Mhm.
work, like you said,
Yeah.
looking at yourself, talking to yourself, right? Doing some sort of ritual, lighting the candles, getting in tune with your ancestors. I think a lot of the things that are happening are because we're getting in tune with our ancestors, because we're starting to do the work, because we're starting to reconnect with who we truly are and our true spiritual paths, that
Mhm.
more and more things are becoming unlocked. And the fall of America is just part of it, right?
Mhm.
And it's
Mhm.
scary if you think it's scary. It's scary
Mhm.
if you're not looking at how to pivot. It's scary if you're not tapped into your ancestors and getting that ancestral wisdom. It's
Yes.
scary if you're not guided by your third eye and you're guided by just these two eyes. Because
Mhm.
just these two eyes, you're only going to see the world around you. But with
Yes.
the third eye, you see the universe and you
That's
see
it.
all possibilities. There's no limits to your imagination. There's no limits to your creativity. You
Yes.
know, when things are the worst, it's usually when people are the most creative, Mo, right?
Absolutely. Chaos breeds creation. There's
Chaos breeds
something that
order.
you were
Yeah.
saying earlier that I feel like is really that was so important, and I like you were talking about how as Black people, why are we trying to like find some land to belong to, right?
Right.
And the reality is that we are cosmic beings. We have access to everything. And the work is just to get yourself to know that you have access to everything. I feel like the thing that's been most profound for me in these last several years is realizing that the invisible responds to my consciousness. And now, because understand symbolism and cosmology, and I've really educated myself in how this reality works, because I needed to know, because I have a Gemini moon and I have a Virgo sun. So I have to understand how things work. I can't just be out here like, oh, I have to know like what's really happening. And the thing that's important to understand is that the cosmos responds to our internal reality. It really is as above, so below. And the United States had just captured the energy because it was allowed to. We needed, whether we understand this or not, we needed a delay. um Whatever happened in the last 400 years, there's not been one mistake. It was what needed to happen. We have been in the dark ages, what the what people in India call the Kali Yuga, which is we've been
Kali
in
Yuga. Yeah.
the Kali Yuga. We've been in a 24,000 year period of darkness, and the last 2,000 years have been, white people, which is a made up construct. There's really no such thing as white people. It's just made
No.
up, right?
Right.
And for the last 1,500 years, they have been they have been ruling the energy really just to delay us for this time now. And now is the time for us to really wake up to who we are. And we are cosmic beings and we get to birth a new reality. I think one of the things that makes this challenging is that we don't have documentation, much documentation of when humans were doing other things on the planet. And that was design. The Catholic Church and all of the powers that be designed the world as it is now so that we wouldn't know who we are. But it's in your cells, it's in your DNA. You don't have to have a book to read about it. All you have to do is learn to trust yourself and love yourself. And the wisdom is going to just come right up out of you. So we don't need to, like you were saying, we don't need to belong to America or Africa or none of that. We belong. When I close my eyes, I see us stepping out of the stars. Like that we just stepped out of the stars and entered bodies, and we're cosmic beings. And the more you can believe that, then you free yourself from the karma of the last 1500, 20,000 years. You free yourself of this karma because we've been here doing this for many, many, many moons. We've been doing this for a long time, and we just have to remember, and it's possible for us to do so.
Yeah, the soul contains all, like all lot, right? All. Arm, leg, arm, head, Allah, but it also all. The universe is all, universe all. So once you have that universal mindset, from my perspective, you can only shift from focusing, you have to shift from focusing on, like you said, the earthbound things, like what's going on physically only. Right now we all know we need food, clothing, shelter, right, resources
Mm-hmm.
for those things. That's the basics, right? But that can't be your only focus in life,
That's
because
right.
once you get the money, right, doesn't mean you'll be happy. Once you get the new car or the new big house, or you shit on everybody, right, you're the
Yeah.
flyest person on earth, it doesn't mean that you'll reach the level of happiness and peace and contentment that you think you'll get, right?
Yes.
And often that unlocks that you need more than just the physical things. And we see that with a lot of celebrities that's saying that, like Taraji P. Henson was coming out recently talking about, she has all the money, she has everything that she wants, but she still feels like there's a hole that she didn't fill, and she thought that when she became a superstar that she would fill that hole. But
Right.
there's still more that leads to wholeness and healing. That child, becoming a time traveler and healing that inner child, and consistently doing that work and using these new moons and these full moons to target certain things. Like, for instance, the full moon in Libra, this is really a time where you want to look back and reflect on those that not only in your circle now, but those that were in your circle in the past, and
Yes.
see what type of value that they're bringing to you, and see, and also not just what they're bringing to you, the external, but the internal. What do
Right.
you bring to them? Are you a good friend? Right?
Right.
Are you a person that's pleasant to be around? Are
Mm.
you the person that's encouraging? Are you the person that has a kind word in the morning? Right?
Right.
What type of things are you bringing to the table to keep your vibration high? Right? What
Right.
type of morning rituals do you have? What type of evening rituals that you have? And on
Right.
anybody that's successful in anything, they have some sort of morning ritual.
Yep.
Right? I know you do. I know I do.
Yep.
Right? And you have something you do in the evening as well. I know
Yep.
you do. I know I do.
All
Right?
day
These
long.
are ways that. Go ahead, Mo. Go ahead,
I'm,
Mo.
I'm in ritual all day long. Like I am the altar. I am the consciousness. And I am constantly reminding myself of my consciousness and what it is that I'm up to. And here's the thing, like I feel like a lot of people, it's important to know that we need to really live by intention. And the thing to do is with these new moons, every new moon is where you have the opportunity to begin again. So we just had a new moon in Aries. So now you get to recode your identity. And so like who you say you are, and then And with the new moon in Taurus and the new moon, like all these new moons are giving us new light codes to recode ourselves out of the old patterns and into the new ways of being. But you can't skip anything. That's the thing that I didn't understand is this earth realm follows the laws of cause and effect. It follows, you cannot fucking beat cause and effect.
You can't. Yeah, it's impossible.
You cannot. It's just how it is, right? So wherever you are is where you have to start. You cannot skip past where you are. And so, you know, if you come from, you have to heal your family karma. You have to heal the generations that bought into this American system. You can't just skip it. You can't just get money. Like that's why Taraji P. Henson, she has money, but she's miserable because money is not the solution.
At all. Right.
It's not that it's not all. It's not the solution. It is a false construct. Money is a made up agreement that we said this is what we're going to say is valuable to exchange for things. But really now the real value is in your consciousness. We're not gonna be honoring money anymore. We're gonna be honoring consciousness, right? So the people who are gonna have money are the people with so now Taraji needs to now go pay somebody all of her money.
Gain consciousness. Right.
Consciousness.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, you have to understand that consciousness is the greatest power that you can have. That's why when my money goes low, I'm like, it's okay because I know I can just make more money because I have consciousness and I know how my consciousness generates on behalf of others. I know how my gifts work. I know that I have the ability to be able to see someone in their God state in the way that they cannot see someone. I did it with you, Rob, right? I saw you as who you are now when you didn't see yourself.
Facts. 100% fact. 100%. Snapple fact.
Put that's right. I saw it. I told you what it was. And look at you now. And you were like, what to do? And I was like, here's what you need to do. Because I can see people's futures. And how do I know that? Because I have moon conjunct the moon trine Uranus, which means the moon is my inner world. Gemini, the story I tell about somebody is the story of Uranus. What is that? The mind of God. So I can cast somebody's future because that's my gift. And I do it all the time. I did it with you. I've done it with countless people. And right. And it helps because I understand my power and my gift. So now I use that to support not just me, but the world and becoming a world that works for everybody, right? Because I know that everybody has gifts. Everybody that's born at this time has something to do. And all you need, just like you hear people say, a teacher told me I should never do such and such and such. No, I'm the teacher that says, no, you better do this because that is what you're made to do. And the more that we understand who we are and develop our consciousness, everything is, you're set.
Yeah, and your purpose doesn't have to be something like everybody thinks that, you have to be an entrepreneur. Right. Yeah. Like I got to be an entrepreneur. I got to run a business. I got to be hustling 24/7.
Right.
That may not be you. That may not be your purpose. May not be to be an entrepreneur. You might just be comfortable farming. You might be comfortable in a tiny house, not a 10-room mansion. You might just want a little tiny box house to live in the woods, and you're comfortable with a horse and a cow. You might be a person that your dream is just to live in a village with loving people, 10, 12 of y'all, right? Not in a big city. Or not in a condo. You might not want a house. You might want a loft, right? You might not want a loft. You might just be happy in a nice, duplex or whatever, right?
Right.
Make sure that your dreams and your goals match you.
That's
not what other people think is valid or what other people will give you validation for. Make sure that they validate your soul and they validate your purpose because you will be at your optimum when you are following your true purpose, when you are aiming where you need to go. And one of the best ways, like Mo said, was the reason she discovered some of the stuff about me was she saw my birth chart. She was
Mhm.
like, yo, this is what you got to be doing. Yeah, you're supposed to be studying the code. Yeah, you're supposed to be teaching. I'm like, I don't know. I ain't supposed to be teaching this. I'm just a nigga in the street. Man. I don't want these niggas talking shit about me. You know, I'm like, she's like, no, nigga, this is what you're supposed to do. She didn't say no, nigga, but she's a professional. But she was
Yeah,
like, in my head, I was like, no, nigga, this
I
is what you're
don't
supposed
say
to
the
do.
N word,
This is
just so
what
you
right.
guys.
This is what she's supposed to do. She's such a consummate professional, right?
Yeah.
I still got some street in me. But she was like, no, this is what you're supposed to do. This is why you got to do it. And this is what your chart says. And yeah, you're already proficient at it. And once I did that, and the more I do this work, yeah, I don't have 1 million followers, things like that, right? But that's not the goal. The goal is to continue doing this work because I have to do it. And
That's
when
right.
I'm doing this work, guess what? Everything in my life starts to come together, right?
Yes.
This is my purpose.
Ooh,
It may
my
not be
crown
your
is buzzing
purpose.
right now.
If you are following your purpose, I'm telling you, things will magically, and countless
Right,
people have said this. I'm not the only one who said this, right? You've heard
right,
this before. Once you start to follow your purpose, once you start to live in your intention and your dream, and it matches your soul, it matches who you truly are. And the only way you know who you truly are is you got to dig up the bullshit from childhood. We have
that's right,
14 generations of trauma that we have to erase, melanated beings.
right,
They say our
that's right.
DNA holds 14 generations back,
Yes. Woo.
right? So there's a lot of trauma and
Mm,
Papa and Grandpa and
mm,
great
mm,
grandpa
mm.
going through slavery, Jim
That's right.
Crow, oppression.
Like
You
my
know it,
grandmother
right?
was the product of a rape. My great grandmother worked in a white man's house and he
Mm,
raped her and created my grandmother. My
mm,
grandfather was in Alabama on a sharecropper's farm and watched his father be murdered when he was 15 years old. We all carry these traumas. All of us
right.
have the reason your family don't talk about nothing is because it's so painful. People always say, my family, I don't know what happened. The reason you don't know is because it's hard to hear. That's why you don't know. That,
And we didn't
like,
have the tools to
that's
heal like
right.
we do now.
That's
Like you were
right.
saying earlier, the children they are don't have so much to deal with because there's more tools available.
That's
There's more
right.
wisdom available. There's more knowledge available. There's no books. You couldn't read. It was illegal to read.
They made it illegal for us to read. Like, it's like when I
It's
went and
crazy,
did, I
right?
went to do a profound medicine ceremony a few years ago. I started practicing, doing some San Pedro and ayahuasca. And I just started doing some medicine because I had been doing deep therapeutic work for 20 years and I was still in trauma. And I was like, wow, like this, it just wouldn't let me go. And when I started doing some medicine work, I started breaking through the patterns in a way that I could not break through. And I started asking my ancestors. I was like, please show me what happened. Show me what's going on here. And they showed me that what we had experienced was exactly what we needed to build our power. Like they showed me, like, do you understand what it takes to make a diamond? Do you understand the pressure that has to be placed upon that coal in order for it to become a diamond? And that is what is happening with Black people. This pressure was needed to press upon us so that we would really just burst into who we really are. The universe uses everything, y'all. Like, but your ego story will have you think it's nothing. But the universe uses everything. And white supremacy, oppression, slavery, the prison, all of that has been designed to fucking make us into the greatest species that ever lived. Nobody can do what we can do.
Nobody, nobody,
Nobody.
nobody,
Nobody.
nobody. We're here to be the stewards of the soul.
Woo!
We're here to be the stewards of the soul, man. Like I feel like, not I feel, I know that our existence here in this melanated vehicle, right, that we call Black,
Yes.
that looks just like the universe, that looks like the darkness of the universe. It is literally the source material of all things, to be highly melanated, to be highly carbonated. It's the source material of all things. So there's really no limits to what you can manifest as long as you have the right mindset and you are in tune with your ancestral lineage.
Yes.
Like the first step on this journey, I always say, is to get in tune with your ancestors. Pour libations. That's all you got to do. Start pouring libations and start asking for what you want. Start talking to yourself. Oh, I'm doing this. Why do I do this? Why am I doing that? Like Libra, right, is essentially Ma'at, right? The scales. So it's about that heart being as light as a feather. If you're weighed down about Trump getting indicted, and that's all you're thinking about every day, your heart is still weighed down. If you're just worried about the bills and how am I going to make it to day to day, your heart's still being weighed down. It's not as light as a feather. If you're worried about Sheila or Johnny and what they did to you and how bad men are, how bad women are, your heart's not light as a feather. The whole goal is for you to be able to feel everything and be in control of everything you feel, not to feel things and then let it control you. And right now we're in a world where we are feeling things, but the things that we feel are controlling us. We are not looking at it from a sphinx perspective. We are not balancing the scale, so to speak. And that's one of the things that we have to recognize. And one of this full moon's energy would also, I believe, bring and illuminate in our lives is how are you not taking, or how are you taking care of yourself or not taking care of yourself, especially with your relationships and especially the way you interact with yourself and how you interact with your soul and your soul's purpose. Because your soul's purpose is unique, but your soul's purpose is what the world needs.
That's right.
That's God coming onto the planet.
As
And
you.
literally, that's Jesus. The story of Jesus is the story of you, just us, just you.
That's right.
Coming here on the planet.
That's right.
Putting down whatever you're supposed to put down and leave here on earth. And then moving on to the next phase of life. Because this is only a sliver of what we call life, this human existence. Your existence, energy doesn't die, it just changes shape and transforms. So this limited existence that we have called the human is only so you could go through the school of transformation.
Yes.
Most people were refusing to pay the tuition, though,
in
the school of transformation.
And you must. And here's the thing: you must pay it because your soul is just going to bring you back. You cannot escape this experience. We are trapped here until we wake up and realize that what this system is. And when I say trapped, I mean like you will die in the body that you're in and then come back in another body and live in the same reality until you catch it and go, what is happening? But I remember when I started saying to myself, what is going on? Where am I? Why am I in this body? Who am I? Like, I remember when I started asking, like, those questions just started coming, and then I started challenging it. I was like, I am not going to do another thing until the universe opens up for me and shows me something different than what has been shown. I literally was like, I sat down one day, I said, God, okay, if you are real, if there is a creator, it's time for you to show up, because if you need me to do what I was born to do, I'm tired and I'm not going to do it. I'm going to leave and find somebody else to do it. And that was the first day that the miracle started, because I was serious enough to challenge reality. I was serious enough. Like, I wasn't going to God like, oh, help me. No, I was going to God like, if you fucking need me, you better show me what the fuck you need me to do. And literally, it opened up. I was like, oh my God, it really opened up. And the miracles I have had have been that I have experienced on a regular basis. Like the universe is walking with me, like everywhere I go. I feel the force of the universe with me. I feel the energy of consciousness in me, around me, and things, and the universe is constantly giving me messages to know that where I am is right where I'm supposed to be. So there is no excuse. And that includes your fear. It's okay to be afraid. It is okay to be afraid. It is okay to be uncertain. It is okay to have trepidation and doubt because you have never done this before. What we're experiencing on the planet, no humans have ever lived through before.
Ever. Right.
So it is okay for you to have some feelings about it. But if you can be honest with yourself and be like, I'm scared, I need some support, then get some support.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ask for help.
Right. Right. And there's nothing wrong with asking for help.
That's right.
There's nothing wrong with saying, look, I need a mentor, or I need someone that has experience in doing this and I don't have experience. It'll save you time, first of all.
Yes.
It'll save you time, and you'll get to the next level of where you want to go quicker. That's what people in business do all the time. They have business mentors, they go to business events, they network with people in business. It's the same thing that you want to do for your spirituality. You want to put yourself in areas and put yourself in situations that are going to stimulate you so that you could raise your vibration, as they say, to the peak of where it needs to be. Because again, every day you wake up, there's a plan to lower your vibration. There's a plan to keep you trapped into this physical reality, this 3D reality, instead of the 5-dimensional reality where all options are available.
Yes.
This reality wants to limit your options. So they say that there's a recession. They tell you that, okay, the world is changing this way. They tell you they're doing this to the schools. They're telling you this, and that. And you or the masses feel like that's what's really happening. That's what has to happen. But
Right.
you being a God being and you being a vessel with God, you could say, no, that's not going to happen for me. That's not going to happen for me and mine. This is the
Yes.
solution to that problem. Or this is the way I'm going to bend and adjust when this happens. Okay, there's a kung flu out there, right? Okay, I'm not going to get panicky and go get what they tell me to get. I'm going to go and eat better. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to start running. I'm going to start walking, right? That's being this, having your own solution versus a solution someone else gives you. Not to say that you can't be guided or mentored, but you have to make sure that these things resonate with you. And the only way you could do that is by balancing the scale. Make sure that this resonates with your heart. It resonates with where you're trying to go, and it resonates with what you're trying to become. And you're not just easily influenced or led by what someone else tells you need to be doing. Mo, let's talk about Mercury enters Taurus on Monday. What does that mean, and the significance of that Mercury entering Taurus? I know that also with the alignment of Venus, Mercury, and Mars, Taurus is ruled by Venus as well. So that has something to do, to me, the financial industry, how you said, we are talking about the banking, how these banks, Silicon Valley Bank, Credit Suisse went down, how the banking industry changed, and how we're probably going to be going towards a digital currency, I think. But what do you see as far as the Mercury entering Taurus and the way we communicate with finance and just the way we communicate overall with our love and our values?
So this thing you're talking about, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Like I don't know what that is. So I just want to say that before.
Okay.
Okay. But so Mercury is going to go retrograde in Taurus. So we're going to have this Mercury moves into its retrograde shadow period on the 7th of April. And Mercury is retrograding in Taurus, and Taurus is about our value system. Now, here's the thing that it's important to understand, that value is one thing and money is something different. But
Talk about it, right?
They can be connected, but they don't have to be. And so Mercury is how we do commerce, how we exchange. Mercury is our mindset. It's how we think. Mercury rules our perception, right? So perception in our mind, we live in a mental reality. Everything here is mind. Everything here is mental. So money is mental and value is mental, right? So the question is, what do you think about yourself? And that's why, why we've also had the nodes moving through Taurus and Scorpio, which is about how we share power and how we share money and understanding your value. And like I told you, we've been in a system that honored people who had the most money, but now we're moving into a system that will honor people who have the highest consciousness. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So because because we're moving back into nature, because nature ultimately wins. The thing about any system is that you can guarantee that nature is going to over time run it down and it's going to become natural. And so with Mercury and Taurus and a retrograde that's going to start on April 4th and go to June 1st. That includes the shadow period. So Mercury retrograde is 3 weeks of shadow, 3 weeks of retrograde, and another 3 weeks of shadow. So that'll take us to June 1st. And so what we want to be doing during that time is really doing the rituals to reprogram our mental money, how we think about money and how we think about our own value and how we understand our value and revaluing ourselves. So years ago, I did this work, and I'm going to be teaching a class, a Mercury retrograde class for those of you guys who want to join. And we're going to do the rituals every day to reprogram our mind around value. And we're going to start with going from like the first week, we'll work on what we learned from our childhoods around value. And like I know I always had a grandmother who was like, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough money. So that she plugged me in with, my father used to be like, white men, they have all the money. So all of those are signals that came into my system around money and value, and white people have it and we don't. So we're going to do the work to reorganize that energy inside of us with the rituals and the practices. And we're going to really just reprogram ourselves, because the universe is going to honor what you believe. The universe could care less about anything, the banking system or if you are honoring who you are, your needs are going to be met. If you are doing what you're meant to do, your purpose is going to be fulfilled. So the thing is, what most people don't understand is that most people work because we're where we are, we do work that we don't really love. We do work that doesn't really. I remember one time I had a job selling insurance to teachers where there was a script that said most people are going to get cancer. That was the script that I was supposed to tell to teachers. And I remember being like, this is criminal. Like, I am planting seeds of death in people's minds so that they will buy some insurance from me. Like, it was against my integrity. It was against my integrity, but that doesn't mean it was against the next person's integrity. But my point is that many of us are doing jobs that really don't line up with who we really are. You know what I'm saying? We're doing jobs for money. We're doing jobs because we just need to, and that is out of your integrity. And so you want to use this Mercury and Taurus to get in alignment with you want your mind and your ideas of commerce and your ideas of value to be going in the same direction so that you're not divided against yourself. Because what happens is when you're making money in a way that doesn't really feel good to you, then that money just leaves. That money doesn't work for you. You can make a lot of money, but it goes as fast as it comes, right? Because you're not in integrity with yourself.
And you're trying to spend your way to happiness. You're trying to spend not even happiness, because you could buy happiness to me. But you can't buy peace. You could buy a car that's going to make you happy for the first week or 2 weeks. You could buy a new house that's going to make you happy the first month. You could buy a new dress, a new suit, new this, new sneakers, new shoes. It will make you happy for 2 or 3 days, right? And then eventually it all becomes regular. It all becomes it's like how did Solomon said, it's fleeting, right?
That's
You
right.
know, it doesn't really matter. So the real value, even like I said, the relationships
Mm-hmm.
are going to be your, like you said, your character, your consciousness, your
Mm-hmm.
internal self, your nobility, the way you are tapped into your emotional side, but also your logical side. Do you
Mm-hmm.
have boundaries? Do you set boundaries? Are you able to say no to people, right? This is
Yeah,
all a balancing act. And a lot of people have to learn to say no.
that's
They have
right.
to learn to say, I'm not going. They have to learn to say, nah, I don't feel like it today. They
Mm-hmm.
have to learn to say, I don't have it. I can't give it to you, even if you got it, right? You have to learn how to set boundaries for other people so they know how to interact with you. Like a lot of people come into spirituality, they think it's just about being nice, 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 and
Right.
love, light, happiness, and all the time. And no, a lot of it is about you knowing how to stand up for yourself and you knowing what aligns with you and what doesn't, and setting hard boundaries and having discipline to align or realign consistently with what aligns with who you really are or what your
Absolutely.
strengths really are. And that's
Absolutely.
part of this work that you do every month and that we're doing. Go ahead, Mo.
That is so important that people really understand like who they are and be true to that. And it's like I have been in countless environments where people have been like, for instance, I was a part of an open relating community for many, many, many years. And the whole time I was there, I was like, I'm a single woman. I'm not really an open relator. I'm single. I can do whatever I want. I can I can be with whomever I want. I can say yeah because I'm single. But I was in an open relating community, but I used that community and the practices there to help me learn how to really be true to myself,
Mm-hmm.
to help me learn how to not collapse, right? So not collapse my energy into other people's energy, because as women, we have a thing that we do where we really want to fit in with one another, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like women really dress for other women. Women really, like, people are like, why are women wearing all these eyelashes? Because other women are wearing eyelashes, because other women are wearing weave. We're not doing it for men. Men don't like that.
Right.
Because we're doing it for other women, right? So I had to be in this community of women who were something that I knew that I was not, but I was there so that I could really fortify who I was,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
who I really am, and create a space for everybody to be themselves. That's why you got to learn your natal chart. That's why so I have a community called Follow the Sun where we really practice following the energy of the sun and our individual self and how that shows up. So, like, I have Aries in the first house. So, I'm a warrior at my core. But if you have Aries in the fourth house, you're a warrior at home.
Mm-hmm.
If you
Mm-hmm.
have Aries in the eighth house, you're a warrior as an alchemist or in your sexuality. You know what I mean? Like everybody is different, but you have to know who you are so you can say yes to you and no to who you are not. It's so significant, especially as women. I just want to say this thing as women. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Women create the reality. Women give birth to every human being that has ever come to the planet. Women are the generators. Now, we need a man's semen to get pregnant, but we still say yes to who comes inside of our bodies and what comes out. The final word is us. Now, so we need to really understand that power. That is power, that you are the giver or the taker of life. So, what does that mean about who you are? What does that mean about what the Creator made you to be? What does that mean about the words that you speak, the feelings that you have? If you can bring, a woman can change the whole world by having a child. And if you have that much power, how are you using it? Most of us just don't even really know ourselves because we are so hell bent on being accepted by others and being validated by men and being chosen by men that we don't understand that we are the ultimate choosers. We are the ultimate power. And if we don't understand it, everyone else suffers around us because we think that it's out there when it's us. So
Yeah.
it's really important thing to know.
Yeah, I want to say happy birthday to Regina Harris. I was trying to find a comment, Regina, but I'm gonna put this up. It is her birthday. So happy solar return.
Oh, what's today? Okay, she's an Aries.
Yeah, 4-2. She's definitely an Aries for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, it's important to understand, like Libra, for instance, right? Libra is my aunt as well. That also deals with money.
Yeah.
Because when you're dealing with Libra, you're dealing with people. We unite. Libras we unite. So you're dealing with people who, like for instance, like a Jeff Bezos, right? That's it, believe it or not, that's a Ma'at principle because of how many people that he has to deal with, that he has to manage, that he has to see what they're doing. And he has to also be in tune with personalities. He has to understand, being a manager, from somebody who's been a manager of various call centers, it's really also part psychology. You're part psychologist. You have to understand who's in a good mood, who's in a bad mood. This is the way, okay, Brian works this way, right? I know if I have a conversation on the side, Lisa's going to be looking and trying to look at every, see every word that I'm saying. There's people have certain, this person is pushed a certain way. You got to really get on them. This person, you can't really get on them like that. They're self-governing, so forth and so on. So when you comes to the money, it's really about understanding yourself. And the more you understand yourself, the more you understand others, because everyone, like Mo was saying, is a reflection of you. So the Mercury and Taurus is really, are you communicating effectively, not only about yourself, because your self-talk is what is going to show your values.
Right,
What
because
you,
in Taurus, it is about our self-talk and our self-esteem. I just want to
yeah,
add that. So go
yeah,
ahead.
no, you're right. Your self-talk, your
That's right.
self-esteem, your self-values, right?
That's
Those are
right.
the things that you want to communicate. A lot of times, I noticed on this journey, I was very cynical in the past. I was very like glass half empty. And the process of just going through the self-talk, going through that mercurial initiation, right? To really be a quote unquote bull, right? A Taurus, to have those values. The more you learn yourself and the more you start talking positive about yourself, the more you start affirming yourself, and you start to look at other people different. You start to see what other people's flaws are because you are working on yours. So you can see others and you can help them overcome their flaws. You can help them become more productive for you. You can help people become an asset that are in your circle. And in turn, they'll help you become an asset because you're pouring into them, and everyone is a reflection of you. You're electromagnetic. So the more you give, the more electricity or that vibe that you give off, you're going to get that vibe back from others.
That's
And
right.
that's part of the spiritual work. It's not about, just manifesting a whole bunch of money or manifesting a boo or nice house, nice car. All that stuff is great, but that comes along with the spiritual work. It comes along with you being sincere about transforming and overcoming any limitation that you think you have. And also, like we were talking about, doing the childhood trauma programming, the healing, working with these moons, doing the grounding work, taking spiritual baths, things like that, keeping yourself in a constant cycle and constantly being born again,
Yeah,
right? In
it is.
Christianity, you're only born again once, but every day you wake up, you're really born again, and you have the opportunity to change your life. And the more positive you think about money, the more money will come. I can tell you that firsthand. If you think from a poverty mindset, oh, we're black, we won't get it. Oh, the white man got all the money. Oh, the Illuminati, the secret societies, this is this and that. The more you think about that shit, the less money ideas you'll have. The less ideas you'll have to put money on your own table, to create things that are going to put money on your own table. Right now, you need more than one income. You need at least 2 incomes, 3 if you can, right? You're going to have to create out of the box in this scenario. Especially, let's say all the currency becomes valueless. Then what are you? Then what do you bring to the table? Then what true value do you have? And that value is only going to come from your creativity. And your creativity ultimately comes from your divinity, because it all comes out of the soul. So if you nurture your soul the right way, you won't have a heart as light as a feather when the next tragedy comes, because you'll be above that and you'll be able to look at it from a bird's eye view and look down. Okay, this is the tragedy. Everybody's going crazy. how am I going to win?
Yes.
From chaos comes order.
Yeah.
And last but not least, Mona,
Hmm.
we'll get up out of here. Sun conjunct Jupiter and Aries.
Oh,
That
wow.
is that way. Yeah, right now. What do you say? What say you? I know Jupiter's the planet of abundance as
Hmm.
well. Right? We're talking about financial abundance, and Aries being the lamb or the ram initiating financial abundance in that conjunction.
So Jupiter comes to Aries every 12 years. And Jupiter has been in Aries for a year and it's going to leave in May. But then it'll come back for a little while. And so Jupiter in Aries, Jupiter is the jewel of your essence. Jupiter in Aries is the magic of your own individuality. It's the thing that makes you unique to who you are. And this time that we have had Jupiter in Aries will be time to be cultivating it. So 12 years ago Jupiter was in Aries and I started teaching myself and went to school, got a master's degree in being a coach and learning to study this stuff. That's what I started doing 12 years ago. And now, 12 years in, I have a whole school and community with hundreds of people who are learning this work because I seeded it 12 years ago while Jupiter was in Aries.
Hmm.
So now, while Jupiter is in Aries,
Time to
I
plant seed.
and so now it's growing. It's becoming more of what I intended all of those, 12 years ago. And so with Jupiter and Aries, it's really do you have the courage? Because Aries always implies that you are going to do something that requires courage. Aries, because meaning like Aries is spring, right? And spring, it takes the most energy to create spring out of the dead of winter. So that's where we have the greatest momentum when we honor the thing that is unique to us that nobody else can do. It's gonna take the most of your energy to do it because it's never been done before. It's like I said, you are a geographical location in the mind of God, and what needs to come out of you has to be mined from within you, and it's going to take all of your energy to do that because nobody can tell you what that is and nobody has the answers but you. And so you are the one to do that. And with the sun is our personality. It's how we express ourselves. So what is it that you are expressing that nobody else can express?
Mm,
What's the jewel of your soul?
mm,
What's the luck? What's the magic? Jupiter is Tahuti. That's what Jupiter is. It's Tahuti, right?
mhm,
It's the wisdom, it's the vision. It's
mhm,
Jupiter is also um Jupiter is also Ma'at. It's the
mhm.
mass the feminine of Tahuti is Mahat.
Yes.
Right? So
Fact.
you have Jupiter, you have Tahuti in Aries, and then we're going to have a full moon in Libra, Ma'at.
Mhm,
So how are you going to balance out the gifts that are coming from you and understanding that you're here to bring something. You're not here to get anything. You are here to deliver what is within you into the external world. And when you do that, the universe will reflect back to you your greatness, your majesty, your balance, your gifts. Go check out the 40 some laws of Ma'at and realize who you're meant to be. And clean up your life. And like, are you being true to yourself? Are you a people pleaser? Are you
mhm.
just trying to fit in and belong? So you're saying yes to everything. I realized one day I was like, at the time, most of the friends in my life were people who just sort of came to me and wanted to be friends, but I never looked at the value exchange and what I was offering them and what they were offering me. And when I started looking at it, I let go of most of my friends.
Yeah,
Literally, I was like, oh, everybody's got to go.
yeah, I did the same thing. I did the same thing. Like 2019 was like a big purge of friends
Mhm.
and quote unquote associates because it's like, where you trying, like, what are you trying to do? Where are you trying to go? Like,
Right.
what type of mindset do you have? A lot of people that a lot of people are like very, very limited thinking. You know, a majority of people think from a place of lack, from a
Yeah.
place of poverty, whether it's spiritual poverty, financial poverty. Just think that it can't happen. Just think that they can't make it. Just think down. And those are the people you have to stay away from.
Yes.
48 laws, it has a law says avoid the unlucky, right? You know, avoid the unlucky like the plague. Avoid people that aren't going any place. Avoid people that aren't going where you're trying to go. Avoid people that talk down to you or talk against you. Now, part of this work is you're going to have criticized. You're going to have people that are
That's
going to
right.
criticize you. You're going to have quote unquote haters. You're going to have people that don't understand you. You're going to have people that call you weird. That's part of the game, right?
That's right.
But the other part of the game is you'll have way more people that support you and way more people that are in your corner once you're doing the work that you're supposed to be doing and once you're following your purpose. That voice is going to be very, very, very dim. The haters and the people that criticize, it won't be as loud as the people that love you and support you. It's just like any artist. Once they become big, like, you know, Nicki Minaj, let's say, right?
Mhm.
She has way more love and way more barbs than she has people that are throwing barbs at her, so to speak.
Right.
Right now,
Yeah.
she as an artist chooses to focus on the people that are throwing barbs at her, right? So therefore, that expands. Just
Right.
like when you respond to a hater in the comments, right? The hater's going to keep coming at you, or the troll's going to keep coming at you. But if
Mhm.
you ignore them, 9 out of 10, the troll has nothing to feed off of, right?
Mhm.
And if you
Mhm.
keep focusing on what you're focused on, they're going to go away. So it's the same
Mhm.
thing as in everything in life. But I think definitely 2023, especially with this particular set of planets and these alignments and things that are happening, right? A financial focus, making sure that what you're doing reflects where you're going,
Right.
even if
And
it's
who you are, and who
and
you
who you are,
are.
right?
Right.
And develop a skill too.
That's
Like a
right.
lot of people don't have skills, but they want the world. Part of
Right.
this work is balancing the scale, is also realizing that you are here on this earth in a physical vessel and you are here to be wealthy, right? You are here to make a good amount of money. You are here to make a good amount of coin, but you also have to balance that out with your inner self, right? You can't
Right.
just be looking good on the outside and you have no social skills. You know, there's people that I know, men out here with a lot of money, right? But they can't interact with a woman to save their life, right?
Right.
They
Yeah.
can't interact with their children. They don't know how to be fathers, right? They don't know how to be men and lead and make decisions. The wife makes all the decisions and things like that, right? So
Mhm.
you have to know how to balance the scale, right? Yes, don't be so spiritual that your head's in the clouds and that you're not paying your bills and you're not paying your car note and you're always broke and you're saying God will provide, right? But you know, and the vice versa. Don't be so money hungry that you're not tapped into the God part of you. So
Right.
making sure everything's both sides are in abundance.
Ashe. Ashe.
You want to take some questions, Mo? Or you ready to go?
Yeah. I'll take a question or so.
All right, let me see. Anybody has any questions, drop them in the commentary. While I wait for y'all to drop a question or two, if y'all have it, I want to
Mhm.
read this quote mode. I wrote this down. It said, relationships, being that we're in the full moon in Libra, it says
Mhm.
relationships are not just for survival and companionship. Relationships should help you grow and reach your highest potential possible.
Absolutely. It is.
Do you
It.
think that most of us consciously avoid people that make us accountable for ourselves?
Yes, I think that because we're in the dark ages and because we are mostly Americans, the we don't run into anything hard here. We run away from hard things. We run
Mm.
away from things that take away our comfort. We are comfort seeking fucking creatures. And that has, you know, that's what we don't understand is that when we're out of our comfort zone is where we actually grow the most, where we actually gain more power. Like I said, the experience of becoming a diamond means that you have endured the greatest levels of suppression and oppression and pressure that make you into yourself, right? Like, so when you want to get strong, you have to lift weight. that will actually break down those muscle fibers and then build them back up and make them strong. But most of us don't want to do the hard work. And it's just the nature of the dark ages. It's really, and a lot of us carry so much trauma from what our ancestors have endured. We're exhausted, we're tired, we actually are tired. And so one of the visions that I have, like I'm holding the vision that I will be able to create spaces for people to come and relax. Like the thing that has been the gift of my life is that it, I had an uncle that died a few years ago and he left me some money, and I went and got a reading from somebody, and she said, take a whole year off. And I had just enough money to pay for my rent for an entire year.
Wow.
And I rested for a year. People don't understand that. Like it sounds crazy. It sounded crazy to me. But if you're not able to relax, to understand how your nervous system is running hot, like if you're always thinking about, I got to get this, that's because those are codes, that's conditioning that has to be addressed. So there is such a value in us learning how to, I forget the question you asked me now, but learning how to really
relationships. Like, do you think people run away from people that can achieve? Yeah,
that's right. So the value is us really learning who we are, and it takes solitude. You cannot find yourself if you're under somebody else's gaze. You cannot. If you are under the gaze of somebody who thinks you need to do this and you're trying to, you can't. You have to have the opportunity to find out who you really are, so that, because if you don't want somebody projecting onto you what they need from you, then you need to be looking at yourself to understand what you need from you. And I feel like I was in a relationship with somebody who had a lot of ideas who I should be. And or what motherhood, like what would it look like if I was a good mother, and what would it look like if I was a good wife, and like all of those and so I finally had to end that relationship and say, what are my ideas of what is a good mother?
Right.
What do I say a good mother is? What do I say? And until I got my own definitions, I was trying to please them. Like internally, I was always like, oh, are they gonna think this is good enough? Finally, I had to be like, I don't give a fuck what he thinks.
And you can't get that from books, people. You can't get that from YouTube videos. You can't get that from your mama, your daddy, the shaman, the priest, the prophet, the pastor. You only can get that through you, through silence, like you said.
That's right.
What you say. Yeah.
What do I need? What am
and
I?
like you said, fuck what everybody else thinks, and fuck everybody else's opinion about you, and fuck their vision of who you should be and what you should be and who you are. You have to come into this life and live this life because it's yours. It's yours. This is the one life where you will be whoever you are. This is one life. Monique Ruffin will be Monique Ruffin. Rob Watson will be Rob Watson.
Right.
Even if I'm reincarnated, there's no other versions of me that will ever exist.
That's right.
So you have to tap into
yourself. If you can't learn to be true to yourself, then you're no good to anybody else.
To anybody. Yeah. You're no good to anybody if you're not yourself.
That's right. And so
if you don't love you.
That's right.
No matter what quirks you have, you're nerdy, you're different, you like rock and roll, heavy metal, right? Because a lot of black people, it's like a black box, I call it, where they want to keep you in. We have to listen to hip hop and R&B, and you have to be from the hood, and you have to be. No, that doesn't have to be your reality. Your reality is what you make it. And this Age of Aquarius is going to reveal more and more of that, because as these systems crumble, the only thing that is going to be real is the real you. The filter won't be able to hide you. You know what I'm saying? The money you won't be able to hide behind. The nice selfies with the big cars you won't be able to hide behind. The only thing you will be revealing is the true you and your true heart.
That's right. And it's so like for me, like this might sound like TMI, but I'm sharing it because it was this deep, right? Like I really didn't know what was sexually pleasing to me because my whole life and sexuality was built on what does a man want and what does a man think and how is he gonna like
I've heard a lot of women say that. Yeah.
like all of it was built on what is he needing me to be in order for me to keep him or for me to, and I finally realized like I was actually in an experience one time and I was like, huh, like I caught myself and I was like, I actually am not here. I'm actually in this bed with this person, but I'm not here.
That's
And
crazy.
it just, and I realized I've never been here. I've always been, and so I literally just moved into a season of celibacy so that I could like really get into my body. So I could really feel what was feeling good to me and what wasn't feeling good. I actually didn't even know how to have an orgasm with a partner. I didn't know, but I didn't even know that. I didn't know it because I was just going through the motions. And then I literally put it all to a halt and was like, okay. And when I met somebody else and I had a new partner, I was honest. I was like, I'm leaning to let you know, I have been having sex in a way that I was taught. I don't really know how to access play. So I had to tell this person, this grown ass man, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I know the basics, right? I
Right.
know that this goes there, but I
Right.
don't know how to feel. I don't know. And I literally found a partner who was compassionate enough and kind enough and curious enough to support me in learning how to get into my body and being present with myself with him but I first had to learn how to breathe and like so it's this stuff, this work that we're doing, it goes to the deepest level of ourselves, but most people are not going to tell you the truth.
Not
They're
at
not
all.
going to tell you where we're lost, and I'm just saying this so that we really understand what's really real here. This is deep, deep, deep work.
And there's a lot of people that don't show that because they don't want to be vulnerable. And a lot of times they can't be vulnerable because they are around people that they don't trust. They're mating with people they don't really trust. Because they're mating with them for superficial reasons. They look good, they're pretty, they have this, they have that, but they don't really know the soul and the character and the consciousness of the person. So then they can't be vulnerable around them and they can't be themselves. Like I remember this woman was like, yo, that I did a reading for. She was like, I've never, like, my husband's never seen me without makeup. And they've been married for years. I was like, what? She was like, yeah, he's never seen me without makeup. He's never seen me, like, even in the bed. She was like, I always wear a little something, something. I was like, what? This is crazy. But, there's really people like that. They don't really reveal their true selves because they don't feel comfortable and vulnerable. And sex is an art. Like, there's an art to sex. There really is a knowing and a learning to sex, even for a man. Like, you got to know how to like you said, make a woman feel vulnerable, make a woman feel comfortable enough to orgasm. If you're just going through the motions, you just get her and you're just banging her out, 9 times out of 10, she's not really going to have an orgasm, right? If you don't have foreplay, if you're not making her feel relaxed, if you're not, that's why people always say the massage, right? You start with the massage, that's a doorway in because she's relaxed. She's comfortable. You don't always have to massage her to make her feel relaxed and comfortable, right? There's certain ways you can move. So that's part of being a man, is part of being a leader and being able to perceive certain cues, especially in a woman, so that you can kind of think before she can even think about it, right? That's
and so she can communicate. So she can say, here's what's going on with me. Here, I had a hard day. I feel like I'm not in my body. I need to do some breath work. Can you rub my back? You know what I mean? Like it's, but
and
as
then you're not just like, oh, yo, you must be on your period.
no, it's really such an interesting thing because I realized how hard it was for me to ask for what I really wanted. Like I was afraid to say, I need this, or will you do this? Or because it was like if I say it, then he's gonna feel like he doesn't know and he doesn't, right? Like but this is in all the areas of our life. This is not just our sexuality. But if I can't own my body and somebody coming into my body, then I can't own anything.
That's a fact. Yeah. And the man too, you got to control the people you put that thing in all the time, because you bring it in, right? She's receptive, but you're
Right.
giving her energy, but there's a sexual
That's
energy
right.
exchange, sacred energy exchange as well. So, the wrong woman, and I'm sure the wrong man as well,
Yes.
but I can tell you from experience, the wrong woman will take you off course, like off
Hallelujah.
course, off
That's right.
purpose, off
Yeah,
track.
that's right.
And you have to recover, and
Yes.
you'll be behind the 8 ball, because now you have to start back over, right? But
Yes.
you allowed somebody else to take you away from who you were, because you didn't feel that who you were was valuable. You
Yes.
didn't feel like who you were was important, and you didn't have the self-confidence enough to let this person know certain things, or show that vulnerability. And that vulnerability will tell you who the other person is. How they respond, you'll be able to identify. But if you're true to yourself, you're being vulnerable, right?
Yes.
Part of being true to yourself is being open to who you are and communicating who you truly are, the good and the bad.
Yes.
And then this world has billions of people. Like,
Yes.
no one should be silencing, and I've done this myself. No one should be silencing their spirituality. No one should be silencing their true interests and their true likes, their true dislikes for anybody,
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
it's gonna come out
That's
eventually.
right. That's
It's
right.
gonna.
Everything in the internal comes to the external. As above, so below.
That's what I was saying.
Hollow Vegeta says most women I've known do not open their mouth about what they really want because they're afraid.
They're afraid.
Afraid. They
Yeah.
don't know how to. They're scared to be judged, right?
And another thing, you got to tell them, hollow men, you have to tell women that it's, if we do have any disagreements, I like to say this, and I usually get women that are vulnerable. I usually say this, and women that are closed usually become vulnerable. That if we have any issues or whatever, let's sit down and talk about it. Like, I'm not going to yell. Let's, just like we're in a business profession, like talking to a supervisor or talking to management, you're not going to be yelling and screaming when there's an issue. So let's sit down, have a conversation. Not to say it won't get heated, not to say it won't get passionate, but I'm open for you to tell me certain things. And I'm not going to take it personal. I'm not going to attack you if you tell me certain things.
Right.
Just so, there's a balance. Now she's saying, okay, I could trust this guy, right? I could trust that he's going to listen to me and not judge me. And sometimes that's all you need to say.
That is,
and most women I feel like, have not even heard that from a man.
that
right?
is, when I literally when I'm my
All right, so we have this.
Go ahead. You want to talk about full moon?
Go ahead, Mo.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so it's just important for us to know ourselves. But I want to answer this question now. Any full moon rituals and recommendations? Because we could talk about the sex conversation forever, and you're a Scorpio, so we could be here for a long. You know what I mean?
Forever, right?
But it's
right.
important in the Libra energy, right? It is, the sex piece is because Venus rules our senses. Venus rules how we feel about ourselves. Venus rules our self-talk. So one of the rituals for this energy is to start giving yourself what you want others to give you. Meet your own needs so that when you go to others, you are not empty. I cannot, right? So simple things, right? So I like touch. So every day I massage my hands, my feet, my arms, in a non-sexual way and sometimes in a sexual way. But then, so when I'm with a partner, I know what feels good to me. I know what to ask for. I have spent time with myself. I have done my spiritual baths. I have looked at myself. I have allowed myself to be present to myself so that I'm not going to another person with an expectation for them to do something that I'm not willing to do for myself. And I think that that's one of the greatest things as women. We are waiting on men to meet our needs, and ain't nobody fucking coming because it's I'm sorry, I just heard the thing in my mind. That's it. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm so big. Nobody's coming if you're not meeting your own needs. You have to know what feels right to you, not just sexually, but emotionally. Do you need somebody to say, "How you doing, baby?" And what do you need? Do you need, like, so for me, I realized that I needed to be in partnerships with men who believed in magic. That was one of my greatest challenges. I'm somebody who's always believed in magic and the occult, but I would be hooked up with men who are like, "What's that? That's weird. What is that crystal? Why are you doing that?" I need a man who says, "Baby,"
Hallelujah. Same here. Same here.
right.
I refuse at this point. We discussed it. I refuse at this point. You don't know magic. Yeah, ain't.
right. So when
Or you're
I
not open to it. Yeah, it's like,
right. So now
yeah.
I have partners. The only partners I have are men who are like, "Will you do it? I have this thing going on at work tomorrow for me. Will you do a reading for me? What do you think about this? I have this going on." They call me for my expertise because they understand that the mundane world is not the only world. They believe in magic. What is the moon doing? But I didn't know. I had to realize that that's who I am. So I need partners who can hold who I am. That's how I live my life. So why would I be laid up with some motherfucker who's like, "That's some bullshit. What you doing?" I don't mess with men who are that way anymore. Any man I'm with
Right.
believes in the occult. They believe in magic and crystals and astrology. And they come to me because they know I have wisdom to offer them. They come when they need their bodies healed. They
Big
come
fact.
and they ask me to lay my hands on their body because I am a healer. When they are trying to figure something out, they come to me and they ask me, "What do you think?" Because I have the wisdom. So I had to understand that I needed to really honor who I am. If I'm not honoring it, how can I expect anybody else to honor it? So, who you are, the ritual is to
Yeah.
begin to honor who you are. Honor, like, come out, like, you don't have to tell anybody, but just know, "Oh, this is what I do. This is what makes me feel right. This is," and really honor that. And when you do that, other people will reflect that back to you. That's how it works. But you got to find out who you are
Yeah. And
in
you
order to honor
separate the wheat
yourself.
from the chaff, so to
That's
speak.
right.
Yeah. You
Right.
separate others. Yeah.
Yep.
Finding your tribe and vibrating towards your tribe. That's what Aquarius is all about. But how can you have a tribe if you don't know who you are?
That's right.
How do you
That's
know
right.
where to fit in if you don't know who you truly are?
That's right.
So that's
Mhm.
your full moon recommendation, though, to
That's it.
know thyself, right? Love thyself.
Know thyself,
Yeah,
love
that's
thyself,
important.
honor
That's the
thyself,
first. That's the first rule.
adore yourself. Why? Because the sun is in Aries. And what you give to yourself will be reflected back to you in the other. Now, when the sun gets into Libra, we're going to have a whole nother conversation. And so,
Right, right,
right.
right. Yeah, this full moon, I'd say, like Mo was saying, confident. You know,
Mhm.
work on your confidence, your self talk. I've been doing a lot of work with High John the Conqueror, High John the
Oh,
Conqueror
really?
candles, candle
Okay.
work and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I keep some High John the Conqueror herb in my wallet
Mhm.
for luck, prosperity, all those good things, and also the ability to lead myself and discipline myself. You know, as far as the gym and doing things that I don't want to do,
Mhm.
that I don't quote unquote feel like doing,
Mhm.
to help give me the energy and the inspiration to push through that. So
Yeah.
definitely been successful. Something I'll be, going heavier on Wednesday the 6th. And yeah, just like you, so it's all in alignment with what you're talking about. It's all in alignment. When the new moon in Aries, that's where I started the work, and then I'll, accentuate the work on the 6th. But that's what I've been doing. I've been working with High John the Conqueror candles, John the Conqueror herb, John the Conqueror energy. And morning rituals, I would recommend, self-talk, put on some vibrations. First 15 minutes in the morning, program your day. You're gonna
Mhm.
have a good day, what the day's gonna look like, what you're trying to achieve. before you get on that cell phone, right? Focus on that. Then after the first 15 minutes, one of the things I've been doing is listening to vibrations, listening to binaural beats, gamma waves. I've been mostly doing gamma waves. I do the ones for the chakras as well, right? Different frequencies.
Mm-hmm.
And my day starts off very, very well. Very, very well. And I've been having good days ever since. So it's really about like I said, the daily rituals are more important than just the full moon rituals to
Yeah.
me.
Mm-hmm.
The full moon rituals and the new moon rituals are new moon is about setting an intention, full moon is about reaffirming that intention. And between that is making sure that that intention you set on the new moon is what you really want to manifest and that you fleshed it out correctly. And the full moon will be accentuating that intention for what you fleshed out correctly. But now is really the time you want to work on, especially being the 7 year and it being the second quarter now of that second year, right? Now that we're in April, we're in the second fiscal quarter. So you're working on really getting yourself together for the summer, the third quarter, getting yourself to where you want to be, making sure that you have proper habits in place so that when things start to change and things transform, you're able to keep a level head and be at peace no matter what happens in your life.
Yes.
And that allow you to become more solution based because when you're angry, when you're stressed out, when you're worried, your vibe Q is dropped by
Yeah.
60%. So you want to have
Woo!
that blood flowing to the brain so that you think, problem solve, and make things happen. And also have the ability to get quote unquote downloads, to get that inspiration and to tap into your intuition. But you won't be able to tap into it if your focus is on these two eyes instead of the third
That's right.
and what the possibilities are.
And with Saturn and Pisces for 3 years. Did we talk about Saturn and Pisces the last time?
No, go. I think so, but you can recap us.
But just Saturn, Pisces is the subconscious, and everything comes from our subconscious. Everything comes from the part of us that's not aware. So,
That's the soul. To me, the subconscious is the
yes,
soul.
absolutely. So Saturn is cause and effect. It's karma. And so the thing that Saturn is going to bring out of our subconscious is what we have not been really paying attention to. So you want
Mhm.
to really begin to um, orchestrate your inner reality and do the work with the subconscious and do water rituals so that you can clean that out, because that the Pisces is what your mother is and your father is, and that, like, Pisces is the 4,000 people that had to be born in order for you to exist, right?
Mhm.
So ancestral work. And one of the things that I really always work on is remembering who I am. I need to
Mhm.
remember who I am, because the world, like you said, there is a as an onslaught of distractions, right? So every day I want to remember who I am. And how do I do that? By connecting to nature, by connecting to my ancestral like I have an ancestral altar that stays up in my house where I'm asking, remind me, what am I up to? Help me, show me, right? Like I go to the ocean, I do the rituals there because the ocean is the subconscious, it's the collective. And I ask, remind me. So I bless my water, I drink my water, and I say, remind me of who I am. And I drink it and say, thank you for clean.
Mhm.
So it's just beginning to live your life like your life is a ritual.
Mhm.
And with Saturn going to be in Pisces for 3 years, we're going to have 3 years to clean out these last 400 years. We have 3 years to do it, and it's beautiful, and it's actually fun, honestly. I mean, it's hard work, but it's fun too.
No, it really is fun. Yeah. Especially when you see the synchronicities and you start to see the rewards for your work
That's
and you
right.
start to see things manifest out of nowhere.
That's right.
Like at my job, most people who follow me know I do sales.
Mhm.
And like miraculous things are happening on my side of the scale, and
Yeah.
everybody's like, how, I'm not the greatest salesperson in the world, I'm not the person that's, but it's like all of a sudden like these miracles are happening, but I'm doing work,
Yeah.
spiritual work that they're not doing. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I'm
Yeah.
working with these candles, I'm tapped into my
Yeah.
ancestors. Like I work with Reginald Lewis, right? He's one of the first black billionaires, so he's over my altar, so I give him cigars. That's my and the whole purpose of giving it is not that I think Reginald Lewis is coming down on my neck when I'm doing sales. It's about creating a magnetic connection between his spirit and his energetic archetype, which is a businessman, an entrepreneur, to my spirit, to that aspect of my soul that I have that is business and entrepreneur like, that I may not exhibit as a Scorpio, my dominant zodiac. So I'm attracting that energy and that spirit towards me. So therefore, there's certain things that now go into place when I'm talking to clients, or that pop up in my head when I'm talking to clients that I don't even understand. I don't even know. But that's his spirit infiltrating my spirit. This is what the work is about. It's not about, tapping into your ancestors just for the point of, oh, I just want to hear my auntie talk to me, when I'm sipping tea. No, it's about the ancestors are here to help you become the better version of you. They're here to help guide you. You have positive ancestors, you have negative ancestors, right? There's voices in your head that tell you two different things. The angel on one side, the devil on one side. Those are all ancestral voices in your head. But it's the ancestors or the voices that you nurture, right? Just like a child, just like Osset with Heru. The will that you nurture. Oh, I'm depressed. Oh, only things happen. Oh, this is going to be a bad day. Well, that's what you're feeding your will. If you're saying that on a day-to-day basis, negative things, all women are bad, all men are this, that's what you're feeding your will. But if you're feeding your will, I'm abundant. If you're feeding your will, good things happen to me on a day-to-day basis. If you're feeding your will, I am articulate. If you're feeding your will, I attract good people. Now your electromagnetic field, your organ, certain things have to come to you. It has to. It cannot not, because you're creating the energetic field, and we are all energy at the end of the day. You're creating the energetic field with your will to attract these things to you. And the ancestors just help. They're just there to help.
That's
and they want you to win too. They
That's
want you to
right.
win. God wants you to win. The universe wants you to win.
You're here to win. You've already won. There is a reality. It's when I really started to understand that there is a different dimension for, like, the system that we are in is remarkable. Like, it is so profound to understand that the creator is functioning through all things. When I was a little girl, I used to say to my grandma, Grandma, how did God make me and these other people at the same time? Because this system is fucking unbelievable. It's miraculous, right? And whatever frequency you generate at is what you can create. You're not subject to everybody else's reality. And you can be standing next to somebody who believes the complete opposite of you, and you believe something, and you're having two different experiences, and you're standing shoulder to shoulder with one another,
They're
because
looking at the same thing.
right,
Yeah.
that's how this reality works. And so I see somebody here that they're in their second Pisces return, Saturn and Pisces. So if you have Saturn and Pisces, you are here to do the work of your family karma. Like, if you have Saturn and Pisces, just look at the story of your family. Did you come from a religious family? Did you come from a family that has a lot of power, but they're afraid of it? Did you come from a family that is really creative, but their creativity didn't get to work out the way that it could have worked out? Did you come from a family that has addictions and shadow energy where they're not really using their power? Because Saturn in Pisces says that there's karma in the subconscious. And the family pattern is the subconscious. So if you do the work to clean that up, then you are, and Pisces is so naturally magical. So if you do the work to clear it up, then you'll have magic. But if you don't, then you'll just have chaos in your life, because magic is chaos organized.
Yes.
So that's it. And if you have Saturn and Pisces, your energy is likely to be very chaotic, and you just have to find the magic to organize it. It's as simple as that.
Yep. That discipline and that order. Yeah. Which is masculine energy. The chaos is the feminine energy.
Yep.
The chaos and the emotions. So you need both. You need both. You need a strong dose of both in order to be your highest self, or the highest version of you, or your God self. It's about balancing both.
That's
It's not
right.
about being too emotional, too chaotic, and it's not about being too orderly or too disciplined. You have
That's
to have a marriage of both. And the more you do this
internally.
work, the more that will come internally. Yeah.
Internally,
'Cause
right?
mind moves matter. Yeah,
That's
mind
right.
moves matter. Mind moves body.
To know that your emotions are your feminine energy and your logic is your masculine energy.
Hmm.
And everybody has that, right? So you want to get your masculine and feminine energy on the same frequency so that you can then generate an out picture that actually is true to who you are. But you
Hmm.
have to tame both of those aspects of yourself.
Yep. Yeah, that's the representation of the Sphinx right there. That's what that recommends. The masculine and the feminine energy at one. And you being in control of quote unquote the chaos or the beast, a
Yeah.
lion or segment, which is what the body of the Sphinx is K is a warrior queen, right? But it's
Mm-hmm.
also a healer. Segment's also a healer. So it's about you tapping into both aspects of those and knowing when to use it. There's a time to be a warrior. There's a
Yeah.
time to say no. There's a time to resist the current of the crowd. There's a
Mhm.
time to go against the grain and not follow the rules, so to speak.
Mhm.
But there's also a time where you have to follow the rules, where you have to follow certain patterns, and that's going to get you to where you and establish patterns or established ways of being
Right.
that are going to get you to where you want to be. And there's a time for healing as well. A time
Mhm.
for reflection and time for silence.
Do you
Uh,
know where your Sigmet is? Do you know where Sigmet is in your chart?
I have no idea.
Oh
No.
gosh, we have when this is over, we have to go look and see.
Yeah, we got to do that. Definitely. All
Okay.
right. Last question, Mona. We get up out of here.
Okay, what is it?
For both of y'all, all right. You'll go first on this about karma. Is it separate from cause and effect? And what makes one say it doesn't exist?
Mm. No, karma is cause and effect. Cause and effect is the law of this land. You can it doesn't matter if they say it doesn't exist. That's like saying gravity doesn't exist. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So the thing to understand here is that we can't see most of what is here.
Mhm.
90% of what's here, we cannot perceive it with our eyes. So when people say things to me like karma doesn't exist, I go, okay. It's true. That's like saying gravity doesn't exist. And I don't care. I don't have any investment in it. Um, and it's not just a negative thing. It's just the law. Like we know the sun is going to rise and set. Karma is cause and effect. So it's happening, right? So right now I'm creating a cause and effect by speaking this words and it's going to have a cause and effect. Um so it's not just negative. It's not just it's everything. It's the positive energy and the negative energy. And it's important to know that we need positive and negative. That we want a balance. We want ma'at, right? We don't want just all negative and all positive. We want balance because the feminine is the negative and masculine is the positive. Feminine is the
Mhm.
moon and feminine is the moon and masculine is the sun. So these things have to work together.
Mhm.
And when you're too in the negative, you're gonna go too down the negative end, right? When you're too in the positive, so you have to have a balance. A car needs a negative charge and a positive charge to go forward. You need a negative charge and a positive charge to go forward. So um what makes one say it don't exist? It they are not informed to how reality works. That's why somebody would say it doesn't exist because they don't know how reality works.
Yeah, I concur with everything you said. When you plant a seed in fertile soil, it's going to grow, right? That's what's going to happen as a cause and an effect. Plus, you're also, this is why I always like to say you're an electromagnetic being, right? So you're magnetic, just being you. You're
Mm-hmm.
already an electrical vehicle. You have energy. We all know this, but you're magnetic as well. So whatever energy you put out is going to be the energy that you draw back in. The
Mm-hmm.
energy that you put out is the cause, and there's going to be an effect of that energy. We live in a universe that is goes in cycles, it goes in circles, right? Kang showed that in Quantum Mania, right? But there's also, if you just look at any scientific model of the universe, they show galaxies in circles. They show the sun is a circle, the moon is a circle. You can look the naked eye, see the sun and the moon, they're both circles. Planet Earth, they tell us it's a circle, whether you think it's flat, round, whatever, it's still a circle. So we have this cyclical, circular universe. So everything goes around in cycles. I
Yes.
remember 3-4 years. I remember, Mo, you remember this. In the 80s, they were wearing acid wash jeans, right?
Yes.
About 2018, 2017, acid wash jeans came back. It's just a cycle of things. Now they're wearing clothes from the 90s that I grew up with. I see cross colors and people wearing these different 90s brands. Everything goes in cycles. I remember, I'm old enough to remember when Louis Vuitton fell off, when people weren't wearing Louis Vuitton like that. Now Louis Vuitton is back, it's prestigious again. So things just go in cycles. So it's the same thing with cause and effect. Whatever you cause will have an effect. What you reap is what you sow. And that energy you put out has to come back to you. It has to come back in a cycle. There's no way to escape it. And the reason I know this is I know people who don't believe in this who, like, I know this dude, shout out to my guy Irvin, right? Crook, right? Low-key crook in the Bronx, right? And he works a job, but he's crooked, right? On the other side, you know what I'm saying? Definitely not into, like, we don't talk about none of this.
It's the American way. It's the American
You're right.
way.
Exactly, right? So he's just in survival mode, right? Doing what he does, what he thinks he has to do to survive. So somebody stole his car mirror, right? His rear view mirror. So he started stealing rear view mirrors. Do you know they kept stealing his mirror? Like after he stole 2 more mirrors, they kept stealing his mirror, till he had to get a plate to put on his mirror so that they could stop stealing it. And then they stole his his rear view mirror, like his brake light mirrors. You know, it was like something kept happening to his car, and he was like, "This is my karma, man." Oh, okay, we're back. It's like, yeah, even though he doesn't understand any of these spiritual principles, he understood that he was undergoing a karmic event from what he caused. In fact,
Can y'all still hear me? Because Rob is not present. Can you guys hear me? Are we all gone or is just Rob just gone? I feel like the greatest karmic lesson I have learned has been in relationships and the karma that shows up when I am not true to myself. And as a woman, being in the position of feeling like I need to bend who I am to make a man happy or to deny myself to make somebody happy, the codependent behavior and the karma of that has been really interesting. Like thinking that if I behave a certain way, then just by the nature of me being kind or good, then they're going to just naturally show up and be kind and good. Yes, I see that Rob is gone. So I'm going to just give him a chance to come back. And the nature of me just being kind and good will automatically have this person see that I'm kind and good, and then they'll behave and be kind and good. But because I wasn't being true to who I am and wasn't really saying no when I meant, because I had patterns of saying yes when I meant no, and, thinking that if I do this, then they'll do that. I created karma that way. And so my needs would never get met. And I would go from relationship to relationship, having my needs not be met because I wasn't putting myself first, because I wasn't meeting my own needs. And so because I wasn't meeting my own needs, no one else would meet my needs either. Then that was a karmic thing that I was experiencing. Let me see if maybe Rob will text me. Let me text him and see what's going on. Hi there. Let's see if he's coming back. Are you coming back? Okay, here he comes. Okay. All right.
sorry about that. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can now. We miss you. I tried to just keep the conversation going. I text you too. Okay.
No, that's okay. That's no crazy. That's okay. I'm glad you held it down. I know you're
Okay.
dropping that wisdom. I don't know what happened. It just kicked me out. This happened last time too. I gotta see what's going on with StreamYard. But anyway,
We can tie it up
yeah,
now.
we almost said.
We've been,
Yeah,
we've been
well,
here for 2.5 hours. We've been here a long time.
I see it. I was about to say we go. This is the longest one we've ever done. I think.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, we can wrap it up. Yeah, Mo, tell them where you are. Tell them where you
Y'all,
at, who you be, what you
you
got.
can find me on my website, moniqueruffin.com. Or it's healwithmoniqueruffin.com or just moniqueruffin.com. You can find me on Instagram at Monique Ruffin. And you can look at my profile link and join my community, Follow the Sun. If you go to Instagram, you can join on Mighty Networks. I have a community where we do the rituals and the practices around the retrogrades and the moon cycles every month. And I would love to have you guys participate because we're doing incredible work. We're a whole community of us, is 300 of us doing this work together. So I would love to have you guys participate. Thank you, Rob, for having me.
Definitely. And you guys know where you can find me here, Instagram, Facebook. I am still doing readings. I do still have, I think I have 2 more author copy books available if you're interested. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. I know I was supposed to get with y'all last Tuesday. Ran into some things at work. Work's been kind of busy, end of the month. So I've been doing some OT. But this is a new month, so I'll have some more time for you guys to drop some more wisdom and some more videos. And with that being said, peace, power, prosperity, happy new moon to everybody. Happy new year. Yeah, happy full moon. Sorry. See, thank you for correcting me. Happy full moon, happy new year. And shout out to everybody who's here. Hit that like button if you haven't, hit that share button. And we are out. Peace.
Peace and blessings. Bye bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.